Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time we're looking into the world of open source AI, and things are moving fast. So today we're talking about reasoning AI models. And these models are not just like spitting out answers.
Right.
They're actually like double checking their work.
It's a pretty big deal because it makes them way more reliable.
Okay.
And so you can think about it, an AI that can solve like really complicated math problems.
Oh, wow.
And then verify like it actually went through the steps correctly.
Yeah.
That's like a game changer for fields like science and math where accuracy is crucial.
So it's not just about like getting the right answer, but also
Right.
understanding the why.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's wild. But what I find so interesting is that this level of sophistication was kind of only available to like these big tech companies with massive budgets.
Yeah, that's right.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. This is where Sky-T1-32B-Preview comes in. This is a new open source reasoning model. It was developed by the NovaSky team at UC Berkeley.
Okay.
And here's the kicker. You can train it for less than $450.
Wow.
And it performs as well as or even better than some of the other leading models out there.
That's like less than my monthly grocery bill.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's dive into the details then.
Right.
We have some articles, blog posts, even the model card from Hugging Face.
Awesome.
You ready to explore like what makes Sky-T1 tick?
Let's do it.
Okay, great.
So first things first, Sky-T1 is specifically designed to be really good at math and coding problems.
Okay.
We're talking a 32 billion parameter model, which is just a massive neural network. Yeah. But the real magic is that it's fully open source. It's the data, the code, the whole shebang.
Hold on, back up for a sec.
Sure.
Open source.
Yeah.
So that means anybody can use it, study it, build on it. That's huge. But does it actually perform well? Or is this just like a cool concept?
No, it performs incredibly well. In fact, it goes head to head with OpenAI's O1 preview model, which isn't open source, and it even beats it in some areas.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
So, for example, there's this collection of super tough math problems called the Math H100 Dataset.
Okay.
Sky-T1 actually outperforms O1 on that one.
No way. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So this little engine that could is proving that open source can really compete.
It can compete.
With the big leagues.
Yeah.
But you mentioned it's better in some areas. Where does it kind of fall short?
So O1 does have an edge on the GPQA Diamond benchmark, which focuses on like super advanced science questions.
Gotcha.
Like think PhD level stuff.
Got it.
But you have to keep in mind, O1 is shrouded in secrecy. We don't really know exactly how it was developed or trained.
Okay, so it's not exactly like a perfect comparison.
Right.
But even so, for a model that was trained on like a shoestring budget, these results are mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
What's the secret sauce?
Well, they started with this base model called Quinn 2.532B Instruct.
Okay.
Which is also open source.
Okay.
And then they very carefully selected 17,000 data points.
Okay.
Really focused on math, coding science, and even like puzzles.
So it's like a really highly curated brain food diet.
Exactly.
For the AI.
Gotcha. So it's not just about quantity, it's about quality.
Exactly.
But how did they train this on such a small budget?
So they used 8 H100 GPUs, which are super powerful, and it still took them like 19 hours of training.
Wow, 19 hours.
19 hours.
Yeah, that's a lot of number crunching.
It is a lot of number crunching.
But the crazy part is they did it all for under $450.
Under $450?
It's less than a round-trip plane ticket.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It really highlights how open source AI can level the playing field.
Yeah.
So anyone can potentially contribute to these breakthroughs.
Exactly.
But let's talk about like the bigger picture.
Sure.
Why is this open source aspect so revolutionary?
I think it's about transparency.
Because anyone can look under the hood.
Yeah.
Examine the code. Understand how this model works.
Yeah.
And that's crucial for building trust and ensuring that AI is used responsibly.
Okay, so it's not just about democratizing the technology.
Right.
It's also democratizing like the knowledge and understanding of it.
Exactly.
That's powerful. But it's got to be more than just like warm and fuzzy feelings, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are the practical implications of this?
Well, so think about like researchers, students, even small startups.
Yeah.
They can now access and build upon this like cutting edge technology without like breaking the bank.
Right.
It opens up a world of possibilities.
So it's like suddenly everyone has the potential to be part of this AI revolution.
Well, actually,
that's a game changer.
Yeah, it's about empowering everyone to contribute to and benefit from AI advancements.
And on that note, we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more about this fascinating AI model, Sky-T1.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Sky-T1.
All right, so we've established that Sky-T1 is a little bit of an overachiever.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, like, how did they actually build this thing? Was it like years of research in like a super secret lab?
Not quite. Remember that base model we talked about?
Yeah.
Qwen 2.532B instruct? Yeah. It was already like pretty good.
Okay.
But they needed to like give it a boost in
no.
its reasoning skills.
So they took this like already talented AI and like turned it into a math and coding whiz.
Exactly.
How did they pull that off?
So they fed it a very specific diet of data.
Okay.
17,000 carefully chosen data points covering math, coding, science, and logic puzzles.
Okay.
So they weren't just throwing like random information at it. They were being very selective.
Like a personal trainer for AI.
Yeah.
Making sure it's getting the right workout.
Exactly.
But even with like the best training regimen.
Yeah.
Don't you need a ton of computing power to handle all that data?
You do. They use these things called H100 GPUs. Think of them as supercharged processors.
Okay.
And it still took 19 hours of training.
19 hours.
19 hours.
That's a lot of number crunching.
Yeah, it is.
But the crazy part is they did it all for under $450.
I know, it's less than a round-trip plane ticket.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So let's talk about the brain of Sky-T1.
Okay.
It's built on something called the transformer architecture.
Okay. I've heard that term thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
Can you like break it down for us, non-techies?
Sure. So imagine a system that can see how all the words in a sentence connect and relate to each other. That's essentially what transformers do.
Okay.
And it helps the AI grasp context and meaning like never before.
So it's not just reading words.
Correct.
It's like understanding the whole picture.
Exactly.
That's got to be important for solving like complex math and coding problems.
Absolutely. And when they were developing Sky-T1, they actually experimented with different sizes.
Right.
So like a 7 billion parameter model, 14 billion, and then finally a whopping 32 billion.
Why did they find that like size really matters?
It turns out it does.
Okay.
The bigger the model, the better it performed.
Okay.
So think of it as like having a larger brain with more capacity for learning.
But a bigger brain also needs more energy, right?
Exactly. Larger models need more computing power and resources.
Okay.
And that's why it's so remarkable they were able to train such a large model on such a limited budget.
So they found that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Big enough to be powerful, but small enough to be manageable.
Exactly.
Okay. Besides like the size.
Yeah.
Were there any other like surprises during the development process?
Yeah, they found that a balanced mix of math and coding data was really key.
Okay.
It's like cross-training for your brain.
Yeah.
So by training the AI on both types of problems, they were able to make it more versatile and effective.
So it's not just a one-trick pony.
Right.
It's a multi-talented AI superstar. Okay, earlier we were talking about how Sky-T1 stacks up against OpenAI's O1 model.
Right.
And it sounds like Sky-T1 is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But O1 isn't open source, is it?
That's right. We don't really know exactly what went into building O1.
Right.
It's a bit of a black box.
So it's kind of hard to do it like a fair comparison.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder like what other amazing open source models are out there just waiting to be discovered.
Exactly.
But there's got to be more to this story.
There is. So let's move beyond like the technical details and talk about why Sky-T1's open source nature is such a big deal.
We've talked about how impressive Sky-T1 is.
Yeah.
And all the cool tech behind it. But now I'm thinking like, if anyone can like access and tinker with this AI, aren't there some risks involved?
That's a great question. You know, it's like any powerful tool, right?
Yeah.
There's always the potential for misuse.
Exactly. Like, what if someone with bad intentions gets their hands on this technology?
That's a valid concern. But I actually think the open source approach can help mitigate some of those risks.
Really?
Yeah.
How so?
So think about it this way. With open source, everything is out in the open, right? So anyone can examine the code, look for vulnerabilities, and even like suggest improvements.
So it's like a community watch for AI.
Exactly.
More eyes on the code, the safer it becomes.
Precisely. And because it's so collaborative, experts from all over the world can contribute their knowledge and expertise and make sure that the technology is being developed responsibly.
That makes sense. It's like having like a global team of guardians watching over this powerful AI.
Yeah.
But even with all those safeguards in place, there's still the question of what happens if someone does misuse this technology.
Right.
Who's responsible?
Yeah, that's a complex issue, but I think the transparency of open source really helps with accountability.
Okay.
Because if something goes wrong, we can trace it back to the source.
Yeah.
And try to understand how it happened.
So it's not just about preventing misuse.
Right.
It's also about having a clear understanding of how to respond.
Yeah.
If something does go wrong.
Exactly. It's about creating a culture of responsibility around AI development.
This whole conversation has been really eye-opening.
Yeah.
It feels like we're on the cusp of something big with open source AI. Like it's exciting, but it's also a little bit daunting.
I agree. It's like we're entering uncharted territory.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it so fascinating. And, with models like Sky-T1 leading the way, I'm pretty optimistic about the future.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's amazing to think that anyone, anywhere in the world could potentially contribute to the next big AI breakthrough.
I know, it's crazy.
This feels like the start of a whole new era.
It does.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From the technical nuts and bolts to the ethical considerations of open source AI.
Absolutely. And remember, all the sources we use are linked in the show notes if you want to dive deeper.
So what's the big takeaway for our listeners?
What should they be thinking about after this deep dive?
I think the biggest takeaway is that AI is no longer this like distant, mysterious technology.
Yeah.
It's becoming more accessible every day. And that presents both like incredible opportunities and challenges.
It's a call to action for all of us to engage with this technology thoughtfully and responsibly.
Absolutely.
To ask questions, to learn, and to be a part of shaping the future of AI.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this dump dive into the world of Sky-T1.
Awesome.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning. This is just the beginning.